Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ultimate Fashion History with me, Amanda Hallay, and my very brief costume analysis and capsule review of the new Ridley Scott movie, House of Gucci. And I was really interested in seeing this because a couple of weeks ago I put together an episode in the UFH NOIR series on the murder of Maurizio Gucci, and I'll leave a link to that in case you didn't catch it. So we went last night, the opening night of the movie, to the VIP Cineplex, which was absolutely fabulous. And I had the best hamburger I think I've ever had in my life there. We went with our good friends Victoria and Chris, so we made a double date of it. And Victoria, because she will always mark any occasion, did this with her fingernails in honor of the movie. How fabulous is that? Right, let me start with my costume analysis of the movie. Janty Yates is the costume designer for House of Gucci, and when I found out that Janty would be doing the costumes, I was really interested because she isn't really known as a quote-unquote contemporary fashion movie designer. She is a genre designer. Her area of expertise and brilliance lies in the realm of historical dramas or science fiction, that kind of thing. But of course, I understand why Ridley Scott chose her, because of course she had won her Oscar for her work on Gladiator, also a Ridley Scott movie. Evidently, Gucci opened its archives for her, but she only pulled a couple of outfits for Lady Gaga as Patrizia, because in real life, Patrizia didn't actually wear that much Gucci. The real-life Patrizia was a very flashy dresser. She liked tight-fitting clothes. She liked to look sexy. And so, although Janty Yates did pull a couple of items from the Gucci archive, including a lot of handbags, she also borrowed from the Yves Saint Laurent archive, but mainly she designed Lady Gaga's wardrobe from scratch. And she dressed her to character. Everything that everybody wears really looks like real clothing worn by real people. The actors do not look like they are walking down a Gucci catwalk. They look like real people. I thought the costumes were absolutely great, especially towards the end of the movie when Patrizia, bitter, unhappy, and planning a murder, isn't perhaps looking her best. There's a dreadful outfit. So if you're going to a House of Gucci thinking that you are going to see a Gucci catwalk, you're not, and that's the genius of it. Janty also does an excellent job with menswear, with all of the wardrobe for supporting characters. Everything looks very real, and sometimes the characters don't look so great in their chosen outfits, which is perfect because that is real life, isn't it? But what about the movie as a whole? Well, House of Gucci really was a movie of two halves. Let me start with the performances, which were absolutely sensational. Lady Gaga, oh my goodness, what a performance. Adam Driver as Maurizio Gucci, who has so much charisma in real life, did an excellent job playing a real-life man who wasn't overburdened with it. Jared Leto offers fabulous comic relief as Paolo Gucci. Jeremy Irons is solid, he's fantastic, but I felt really underused in the movie, and Al Pacino has the time of his life chewing up the scenery. The first half of the movie is absolutely great. It's sort of like Dynasty, but with beautiful cinematography and lighting and a very interesting pace. And then something very strange happens in the second half of the movie. The first half works because it focuses on the relationship between Patrizia and Maurizio. And then in the second half, House of Gucci sort of loses the spirit of the first half of the movie and doesn't seem to know what it wants to be in terms of storytelling. A boardroom thriller, a true crime drama. It sort of meanders and is very dour, and it's also kind of confusing. Unless you know the story, you don't really understand what Patrizio's motivation was to hire an assassin. They don't go into the mechanics of the murder, how it was arranged, which is quite an interesting story. And there is no discussion of Patrizio's brain tumor. There are no courtroom scenes except for her appearing in court, and the courtroom drama, the trial, is so interesting. I don't know why they didn't go into it more in terms of storytelling, and it was also a little bit confusing if you didn't know the story of Gucci, the collapse of Gucci, and Maurizio's assassination. The storytelling was a little bit confusing. For example, at one point, Tom Ford is introduced. And it's a very important scene, but nobody says who he is. At one point, Victoria leant over and said, is that Tom Ford? And of course it was, but she knew the story. It wasn't until the next scene where Tom Ford's name is mentioned. So if you don't know the story, it was a little bit confusing. The second half really didn't equal the first half, and yet the performances throughout were unique. They were fabulous. I just wish they'd used Lady Gaga more in the second half of the movie. So, House of Gucci. Should you view it or eschew it? Well, I say view it. Definitely. There is so much to recommend. In fact, my husband said to me that out of all the movies we've seen together at the movie house since we've been married, which is about 4 years, House of Gucci was by far and away the most enjoyable. Should you rush to the cinema to see it? I'm not sure. I think it would be a great movie to stream at home. So you can pause, you can chat, you can discuss the performances, you can discuss the costumes, you can discuss the story, and also Google elements of it that they don't really explain to full advantage in the movie. And I, Amanda Hallay of the UFH, am giving House of Gucci a 7 out of 10 for its wonderful cinematography, its fabulous atmosphere, at least during the first half of the movie, and most of all for those incredible performances, which are so worth watching. Thanks for watching my costume analysis and very brief capsule review of House of Gucci. I'll be back very soon with more on the Ultimate Fashion History, so don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.